Welcome students. In this class, I want to cover a very important theorem which is very useful for solving many problems in linear algebra and other chapters as well. This is the statement of the theorem. If W1 and W2 are two subspaces of a finite dimensional vector space V of f, then dimension of W1 plus W2 equal to dimension W1 plus dimension W2 minus of dimension of W1 intersection W2. This was the thing, right? So dimension W1 plus dimension W2 minus of dimension of W1 intersection W2. So which is nothing but the value of dimension of W1 plus W2. So let us prove this theorem. So before going to prove this, let us understand what it says to us, what is the underlying idea or what is the underlying concept of this theorem. Then I discuss with the approach how I am going to solve, then only I will discuss with the proof, right? First of all, what is meant by dimension of W1? So dimension stands for number of elements in the basis. So what you are taking, I should know a basis for W1 and I will count how many elements are there in W1, then it is nothing but dimension of W1. Dimension of W2. So first of all I should know what is the basis for W2. Then I will calculate how many elements are there in that basis. Then we know the value of dimension of that W2. Similarly for the intersection. So the outside we can say that number of elements in W1 basis plus number of elements in W2 basis minus number of elements in W1 intersection W2 basis. So if you perform this calculation, which is equal to number of elements in W1 plus W2 basis. So this is the concept of the theorem. So if you want to know the number of elements in the basis of W1 plus W2, so this thing you need to perform. So these three bases you should know, right? The other way is, this formula is very similar to our set theory formula which you study at school level, maybe 8th class or 9th class. So this is the formula, n of A union B is equal to n of A plus n of B minus n of A intersection B. You can observe that this theorem and this formula very similar, right? So here n stands for the dimension, union symbol stands for plus, so intersection symbol is intersection as it is. So you can observe this formula is very similar to this one, okay? So this is the underlying idea or concept of this theorem. Now let us discuss the approach, how to prove this one. So for this I want to write an algorithm. So if you remember the procedure or algorithm, whatever you call, then you can easily follow the proof of the theorem, right? In the first step, I will take a basis for the intersection. In step 2, I will find a basis for W1, a basis for W2. Okay. So in first step what I am doing, I am taking a basis for the intersection. In step 2, I will take the basis for W1 and W2. Then I calculate RHS value. So I will get some number. Then to prove LHS is equal to RHS, what I will do, I will define a set with the number of vectors. Then I prove that it becomes a basis of W1 plus W2. This is the entire procedure that I will follow in proving this theorem. What is the first step? I will take a basis for the intersection. What is second step? I will construct basis for the set or subspace W1 and the subspace W2. Then substituting the values in the RHS of the question part, I will get some number. Then as we need to prove LHS is equal to RHS, with that much number of elements I will define a set, and I will prove that that set will become a basis for W1 plus W2. So what happens? Dimension is nothing but number of elements in the basis. So the left hand side basis, how many elements are there? It is exactly equal to the number of elements in the RHS side. So LHS is equal to RHS proved. This is the total outline idea of the theorem, right? Clear? So you please take a note of that. Then I go with the approach. I will erase this. So please note down this procedure on a rough paper. Then you will get an idea what is going to happen in this theorem. Then we prove this. Okay? Take a couple of minutes and we will take. Now first of all, let us take that the set B is equal to gamma 1, gamma 2, so on gamma k is a basis of intersection. I took that capital B is equal to gamma 1, gamma 2, so on gamma k is a basis for the intersection. Now tell me what is going to be dimension? Number of elements in the basis. So how many elements are there here? There are k elements. Therefore, dimension of W1 intersection W2 is equal to k. Now let us imagine the picture here. This is W1 and this is intersection. In this intersection, B is a subset. You observe this, the hierarchy. So W1 is the vector space, intersection is a subset of W1. In intersection, B is a subset. What B is actually? It is a basis of W1 intersection W2. What is meant by basis? Linearly independent set and a spanning set. So what you observe, B is a linearly independent set in the intersection. Since intersection is a subset of W1, we can say that B is a linearly independent subset in W1. So what I will write here, so B is a subset of intersection and intersection is a subset of W1. So B is linearly independent subset in W1. So, in the previous classes, we have discussed the most important one, which is the basis extension theorem. What it says to us, whenever we have a linearly independent subset, then it may be a basis, or by adding some more vectors to it, you can calculate a basis for that, right? Again, I will draw a picture for that. Suppose we have a set with U, say V. In this, I have taken a subset. This is a linearly independent subset. So, basis extension theorem says that whenever you have a linearly independent subset with U, it may be a basis, or it can be extended to form a basis. So, what is meant by extended? By adding some more vectors to it, you can find a basis for this one. So, this is the actual meaning of it. Okay. So, B is a linearly independent subset in W1. Therefore, by basis extension theorem, it can be extended to form a basis of W1. Therefore, by basis extension theorem, B can be extended to form a basis of W1. So, let us take that set as B1 is equal to, again I repeat, what is meant by extended or extension? For the existing set, you are adding some more vectors. So, I take the set B1 as the same vectors will be there, and I will add some more vectors. So, you take alpha 1, alpha 2, so on, alpha n. So, this I will take it as a basis of W1. Now, tell me total how many elements are there? Alphas are n, gammas are k, total n plus k. Therefore, dimension of W1 is equal to k plus n or n plus k. Whatever the way you write, you can write. So, similarly, you can say that B is a subset of W1 intersection W2 is a subset of W2, because intersection is subset of both the sets. So, whatever the step I repeated, I repeat the same step here. So, B is a linearly independent subset in W2. So, by basis extension theorem, B can be extended to form a basis of W2. So, same thing I will write. So, I do not want to write it on the board, you can copy that. Okay. So, I will take a different basis for W2, say let us take B2. So, the suffixes will give the idea. So, B1 is basis for W1, B2 is basis for W2, B is basis for the intersection. Okay. So, B2 is equal to gamma 1, gamma 2, so on, gamma k, and you take the other vectors as beta 1, beta 2, so on, beta m. So, this you take it as basis of W2. Now, total how many elements are there? Gammas are k in number, betas are m in number. So, dimension of W2 is equal to k plus m. Now, if you look at the theorem statement, I have given an approach or algorithm for that, how to solve. What it is given, I want to calculate the value of RHS. So, if you evaluate RHS, what it is dimension of W1 plus dimension of W2 minus dimension of the intersection. So, this value equal to dimension W1 is k plus n, dimension W2 is k plus m, minus dimension of the intersection is k. Now you cancel the terms. What remains here? This is k plus m plus n. So RHS, if you evaluate, the right side number is k plus m plus n. So if you want to prove that LHS is equal to RHS, the objective of the theorem, so LHS must have the same number k plus m plus n. So what is LHS in the theorem? It is nothing but dimension of W1 plus W2. So I have to show that dimension of W1 plus W2 is k plus m plus n. Again, what is meant by dimension? Number of elements in the basis. So I should construct a basis for W1 plus W2 which exactly contains the number of elements as k plus m plus n that I want to do. Okay. So this you take it as a number, say this is equation 1 for your idea. It is not necessary, however, so let us give no number for this. So you just remember that RHS value is k plus m plus n. I want to prove that LHS is equal to RHS. Now I should have a set with me with exactly k plus m plus n elements and which will become a basis for W1 plus W2. That is my objective. Okay. Now check what I will do. If you observe that gammas are k in number, alphas are n in number and also betas are m in number. So I will write all the three variations in a single set and I will prove that it will become a basis for W1 plus W2. Okay. So now I define a set. How I am defining? Capital S is equal to set of all gammas. So gammas are k in number, set of all alphas, alpha 1, alpha 2, so on alpha n, and betas, beta 1, beta 2, so on beta m. Now see, total k plus m plus n elements are there. Now what I am going to prove? I want to show that S is a basis for W1 plus W2. So again, what is meant by a basis? It is a linearly independent set and it must be a spanning set. So I have to prove the two properties for S. I have to show that S is a linearly independent set and I want to show that S is a spanning set for W1 plus W2. So students, please understand carefully, this is a lengthy theorem, you have to wait for some more time. So slowly but steadily you need to understand this. Okay. So first I prove that S is linearly independent. Okay. So what is meant by linear independence? You will write a linear combination, you say that it is equal to 0, then I prove that all the scalars in that linear combination is 0, that I want to show. So first of all, let us write a linear combination using all the vectors there. So you take that a1 gamma 1 plus so on plus ak gamma k plus b1 alpha 1 plus so on plus bn alpha n plus c1 beta 1 plus so on plus cm beta m is equal to 0 bar. Let us consider like this. So I have written a linear combination which is equal to 0. Now it is my responsibility to show that all the scalars must be 0. So I have to show that all the scalars a1, a2, so on ak are becoming 0. All the scalars b1, b2, so on bn will become 0. All the scalars c1, c2, so on cm will become 0. So if I prove that, then I have taken a linear combination in which all the scalars are 0, which gives that S is a linearly independent set. Okay. So first of all, I will give a number for this representation. Let us take this is 1. Now what I will do, I will keep this part on the LHS side, then I will take the remaining part to the RHS side. So, which implies that C1 beta 1 plus so on plus Cm beta m is equal to A1 gamma 1 plus so on plus AK gamma k plus B1 alpha 1 plus so on plus Bn alpha n. Now see, on the right hand side, you have an expression which is containing alphas and gammas. So this is nothing but linear combination of alphas and gammas. And we observe, earlier we have three sets with us. B is a set, B1 is a set, B2 is a set. So among those sets, B1 is the set which contains alphas and gammas. So I can say this is a linear combination of elements of B1. So this value belongs to W1. Again observe what I did. I have written a linear combination whose value equal to 0. My responsibility is I have to show that all the scalars represented here must be 0. So for this, I have taken this part from this equation and I proved that this part is belonging to W1, right? Also, I will consider the same part, C1 beta 1 plus so on plus Cm beta m. Now, this thing I will write it as, the same thing will be as it is, plus 0 into gamma 1 plus 0 into gamma 2 plus so on plus 0 into gamma k. So this thing can be written like this without any change. So if you observe that it is a linear combination of betas and gammas. Again you have three sets with you, B, B1 and B2. So in B2 you have alphas, betas and gammas are there. So this is nothing but linear combination of elements of B2. So we can say this value belongs to W2 because B2 is a basis of W2. Now observe what I did. Again I will repeat. This is my equation 1. In equation 1 I have taken this portion, right? And I proved that this portion is belonging to W1 and also the same portion will belong to W2 as well. So this belongs to W1, W2 means this belongs to the intersection. So what I confirm, therefore C1 beta 1 plus so on plus Cm beta m belongs to the intersection. Okay? Any queries? Right. Now erase this part. Therefore, what you got? C1 beta 1 plus so on plus Cm beta m belongs to the intersection. As we know, intersection contains a basis which is B. Again understand what is the purpose of basis. Whenever you call that it is a basis, every element can be represented as a linear combination using basis elements. So if you simplify this expression, it is nothing but a vector. So this is a vector in the intersection. So every vector can be represented as a linear combination of the basis for that vector space. So I can write C1 beta 1 plus so on plus Cm beta m as a linear combination of gamma 1, gamma 2, so on gamma k, as it is a basis of W1 intersection W2. Therefore, I can say that C1 beta 1 plus so on plus Cm beta m is equal to D1 gamma 1 plus so on plus dk gamma k, where the scalars D1, D2, so on dk belongs to the field F. Here also, whenever you write a linear combination, all these scalars, all a values, all b values, all c values belong to the field F. Okay. So this I have written. Now you take this cell to the left hand side, then what you get? C1 beta 1 plus so on plus Cm beta m plus minus d1 into gamma 1 plus so on plus minus dk into gamma k is equal to 0 bar. So this is nothing but linear combination of betas and gammas is equal to 0 bar. Again observe, betas and gammas are nothing but a basis. We know that basis is a linearly independent set. Whenever you write a linear combination which is equal to 0, then all the scalars must be 0. Therefore, since B2 is a basis of W2, all scalars are 0. So what are the scalars presented here? You have the scalar C1, C2, so on, Cm. All these values are 0. And another scalars minus d1, minus d2, so on, minus dk. All the scalars are 0. So you have d1, d2, so on, dk. All these values are 0. This you got. Again, I repeat this procedure one more time. What I did, here I take that this belongs to the intersection. Then what I have done, since it is a part of intersection, I have used the basis of the intersection. Then I put all the values to the left hand side. Then I got linear combination is equal to 0. Since it is a basis, hence it is linearly independent, so all scalars are 0. So in this portion, this is the logic I have obtained here. Okay. Now, again observe, I have proved that the two varieties of scalars, all c values, all d values are 0. This I have proved. Now let us go back to equation 1. So in this proportion, the scalars C1, C2, so on, Cm are there, and just now we proved that all the scalars are 0. Therefore, equation 1 becomes a1 gamma 1 plus so on plus ak gamma k plus b1 alpha 1 plus so on plus bn alpha n is equal to 0 bar, because all c values have become 0. Again, you observe here, this is a linear combination of gammas and alphas which is equal to 0. Since it is a basis, all scalars are 0. As B1 is a basis. So all A values, A1, A2, so on, AK will be 0. All B values, B1, B2, so on, Bn is equal to 0. So in this entire expression, first I proved that the scalars in this part are 0. Then I proved that all the remaining scalars in this part is also 0. Therefore, whenever I write a linear combination whose value is equal to 0, then I proved that all the scalars existed in this part are 0. Therefore, by definition, the set S is linearly independent. So this is the proof for proving that S is a linearly independent set. Now we have one more part remained. We have to show that S is a basis of W1 plus W2. So we need to put the second condition, that is S is a spanning set for W1 plus W2, that we need to show. So S is a spanning set for W1 plus W2. This I want to prove. Okay. Now you take any vector. Say alpha belongs to W1 plus W2. Now what we can say, this is a sum of two subspaces. How sum of subspaces is defined? Every element there is nothing but sum of two values. So you can write alpha as x plus y, where x belongs to W1 and y belongs to W2. This is by definition. Definition of sum of two subspaces. Again, since x belongs to W1, you can write x as a linear combination of W1 plus basis. So you can write linear combination of W1 basis, and you can write linear combination of W2 basis. So what are the elements in W1 basis? Alphas and gammas. So you can write linear combination of alphas and gammas. And what are the bases for W2? Betas and gammas. So you can write linear combination of betas and gammas. So this is nothing but, it contains alpha gamma variation, it contains beta gamma variation. On the whole, it is linear combination of alphas, betas and gammas. Nothing but linear combination of elements of S. Therefore, alpha belongs to L of S. Therefore, we can say that W1 plus W2 is a subset of L of S. Already we know that L of S is a subset of W1 plus W2. Hence, we can confirm that S spans W1 plus W2. Okay. Now I will write the final output there. Therefore, S is a basis of W1 plus W2. Therefore, what is dimension of W1 plus W2? It is number of elements in S. So how many elements are there in S? You can observe gammas are k in number, alphas are n in number, betas are m in number. This is nothing but k plus m plus n. So this is nothing but RHS value. So LHS is equal to RHS, hence we can confirm that dimension of W1 plus W2 is equal to dimension W1 plus dimension W2 minus dimension of W1 intersection W2. So this is the conclusion of the theorem, right? So this is one way a lengthy theorem, okay? So you need to concentrate more and more and step by step, because it contains a lot of variations. That is why how to solve this how to prove this theorem, I have given an example or approach in the beginning. So step 1, step 2, step 3, step 5 I have given. So if you remember the steps, then only you can solve this problem. Otherwise it is very difficult to derive this theorem. Okay. Thank you very much for your good listening. Thank you.